I was in the hospital after an accident. My parents took my 12-year-old daughter and forced her to work on their farm. Then they locked her in a dark storage room for 5 hours, no food, no water, because she was lazy and disobedient. No work, no food, my dad told her. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just did what I had to do. A week later, they were the ones screaming. The crash happened in the morning. Wet road, oncoming car, head-on collision. Sean was driving. I was in the passenger seat. Last thing I remember was someone yelling, maybe a bystander. Maybe me. I woke up a full day later. Everything hurt. My head felt like it was in a vice. First thing I asked the nurse, "Is my husband alive?" She said he was unconscious. They were fighting to save him. Second question, "Where's my daughter?" She didn't know. Lucy wasn't with us that morning, thank God. She'd spent the night at a friend's house, which meant now she was alone. Just 12 years old. Then came the doctor. Then a social worker. Apparently, my parents had taken Lucy. Because of course they had. Sean's parents were gone. His sister lives in Florida. My parents were the closest. Geographically. Trust-wise? I wouldn't leave a houseplant with them, let alone my daughter. But no one asked me. She was handed over to them because they were available. Sometimes life serves you the worst option wrapped as the only option. I called them. My dad picked up, sounding like he'd just won the lottery. "She's fine. She's with us. Don't worry." I asked to speak to Lucy. "Hold on," he said. There was a long pause. Too long. Then finally, her voice. Wobbly. Shaky. "Mom? Is that you?" "It's me, sweetheart." I could barely breathe. "How are you?" "I'm okay. I'll be out soon, and I'll come get you." "And Dad? Is he alive?" "Yes, baby. He's still unconscious, but he's strong. The doctors say he has a good heart. He's gonna make it. We'll get through this." "Okay." Her voice was small. A whisper. "How are you holding up, honey?" "I'm fine. Don't worry about me." Too fast. Too flat. Like a rehearsed line. And her voice. I know that voice. I know how it sounds when she's sick, or scared, or lying. There was something else in it. Fear. "We'll be together soon," I told her, like a prayer. Then I asked again, "Are you sure you're okay?" That's when I heard my mother in the background, whispering but clear. "Don't upset your mom. Tell her everything's fine." And Lucy said, "I'm fine, Mom." Then, almost inaudible, "I miss you." "Stop that," my mom snapped. The call cut off. I lay there, phone burning in my hand, heart pounding out of my chest. Something was wrong. I knew it. I grew up in that house. I knew their methods, discipline through labor, respect through hunger, obedience through fear. Now Lucy was in it. Alone. I had a concussion and broken ribs. I was supposed to stay in bed. 3 days later, I told the doctor I was feeling better. He looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Then I stood up. Shaky, slow, in pain, but I stood. He called it irresponsible. I said, "I need to get my daughter." I signed myself out. Got a cab home. Changed clothes. Then I went to my parents' house. No call. No warning. No plan, except one. Get my daughter. They had no idea I could stand. Or walk. Or drive. And more importantly, no idea that I wouldn't let them break her the way they once broke me. The house hadn't changed. Peeling paint. Creaky door that always needed oil but never got it. My brothers still lived there too. One of them still mooching off my parents like it's a full-time job. No work, no shame. The other one lives nearby. Visits on weekends. He's got 2 sons. Nice kids, until Grandpa starts molding them in his image. I walked in. No one greeted me. From the living room, I heard gunfire, virtual, not real. My nephews, Lucas and Jeremy, 14 and 12, were slouched on the couch in muddy boots, glued to their game console. They saw me. Nodded. Kept playing. "Where's Lucy?" I asked. "Probably with Grandma," the older one mumbled. eyes still on the screen. I walked through the house. Kitchen, empty. Bathroom, empty. Then I stepped out back. And there she was. Lucy stood inside the chicken coop, covered in dirt, holding a bucket. Her clothes were filthy. Her cheeks sunken. Red marks and scrapes all over her hands. When she saw me, she froze. Then dropped the bucket and ran. Mama. I caught her in my arms, and she buried her face in my chest. She was shaking. They said you wouldn't be able to get up for a long time, she whispered. Well, I said, I got up. And now you're with me. She clung to me like she never wanted to let go. Then she lifted her head. Mama, how's Dad? She whispered. He's alive. He's doing better. He started breathing on his own. We'll visit him soon, okay? I stroked her back, trying to hold myself together while my insides were splitting open from rage and relief. And you? Are you hurt? She looked up at me. Not much anymore. I'm here now. That's what matters. She pressed her face back into me and just stood there, breathing hard, trembling. Then the dam broke. It all came pouring out. How they took her phone away. You'll just waste time on it, there's work to do. How they made her mop floors, cook, take out the trash. How Grandpa told her, you haven't earned your food. Work first, then you eat. How on her second day there, they locked her in a storage room for 5 hours. No light. No food. No water. Because she said she didn't know how to clean a chicken coop, and didn't want to. I told Grandpa I wasn't feeling well, she whispered. That I couldn't do it. He said I was lazy and disrespectful. That you spoiled me. That girls like me need to learn their place. Why would they do that to me, Mama? She looked at me with those tired, grown-up eyes no 12-year-old should have. Why did I have to work while Lucas and Jeremy played video games? That's not fair, sweetheart, I said, brushing her hair back. And when I told Uncle Josh to clean up after himself, he left his plate out and dumped chips all over the rug I just vacuumed. He yelled at me. Said I should shut up and clean like a proper woman. And Grandma backed him up. Said I was rude. That I had no respect for elders. They treated you terribly. That ends now. You're safe. I'm going to handle it. I thought you and Dad were dead, she sobbed. They wouldn't tell me anything. And I didn't have a phone. I almost cried too. They said if I complained, you'd get worse. That I'd upset you. I didn't know if I was even allowed to say anything. I led Lucy inside and started packing her things. Didn't say a word. My mom walked into the room, wiping her hands on her apron. Stephanie? You're here? Why didn't you call first? Aren't you supposed to be in bed? Not a shred of concern in her voice. I looked straight at her. I'm taking Lucy. My father came in. Just stood there, watching me zip up Lucy's bag. Didn't ask how I was feeling. Didn't ask how my husband was doing. Oh hey, my brother Josh strolled in, holding his tablet, basically another limb. You got discharged already? He sounded cheerful. Like we were catching up over coffee. Like he hadn't spent the last week treating my daughter like free labor. I didn't answer. Just grabbed Lucy's hand and walked toward the door. And then my dad spoke up. You're just gonna leave like that? Not even a thank you? We took care of your daughter. Watched over her. You're so ungrateful. I turned to face him. Grateful. My voice cracked under the weight of fury. You locked her in the dark for 5 hours. No food. No water. Because she didn't want to be your maid. Because she wasn't born a boy. He raised his voice. We were teaching her discipline. Giving her structure. You and that husband of yours raised a slob. A lazy, disrespectful brat. We just taught her what a real woman is supposed to be. I didn't answer. There was no point. Words wouldn't fix this. But actions would. And they were coming. I looked down at Lucy. Let's go. And we left. On the way home, I stopped at a gas station and got Lucy a warm burger and apple juice. Nothing fancy. But the way she held that burger? Like it was a Christmas present. She devoured it like she hadn't eaten in days, which, knowing my parents, might have been true. Then she passed out cold. Slept the entire ride home. At the house, I gave her real food. Warm, homemade, not earned through labor. Then we called Sean. It was a good call. I didn't tell him everything, he was still weak, and I didn't want to dump it all on him. Lucy went to her room and curled up on her soft, clean couch. Out like a light. Exhausted down to her bones. I collapsed into bed too and passed out instantly. Heavy sleep. The kind your body demands when your heart's been running a marathon. The next day, Lucy opened up more. She started telling me the rest, this time with details. And tears. How Grandpa said, no work, no food. How Uncle Josh, after she dared ask him to clean up after himself, dumped pizza crusts all over the rug she'd just vacuumed. Then stood there and watched her clean it again. Maybe now you'll learn to keep your mouth shut around grown-ups, he said. How Grandma stood outside the storage room, listening to her cry, telling her to stop whining and reflect on her behavior. How she said the most important things for a girl were obedience, hard work, and patience. I listened, nodded, didn't interrupt, and I recorded every word. Quietly. Phone on the nightstand, screen down, mic on. The whole time, one thought was pounding in my head like a drumbeat. I will never forgive them. And they're going to regret it. The second night after I brought Lucy home, I didn't sleep. I just sat on the edge of the bed, watching her. She was curled up in a tight little ball, clutching her pillow like it was a shield. Even in sleep, she couldn't relax. Arms folded across her chest, brow furrowed like she was bracing for something. I recognized that face. I'd seen it before. In the mirror. At 12. 14. Sometimes later. I used to sleep like that too. In a house where I don't feel well was code for you're lazy. Where crying got you a lecture, or worse, a belt. Where why doesn't he have to help, was answered with, because he's a boy. And I was a girl. Service wasn't just expected, it was my supposed destiny. My name's Stephanie. I'm 37. And I had a really happy childhood. If you define happiness as constant discipline, fear, and a gnawing sense that no matter what you did, you'd never be good enough. I grew up in the same house I just dragged my daughter out of. Same closet. Same punishments. They locked me in there too, just for refusing to eat boiled liver. Or for forgetting to say please before asking for water. They called it parenting. It had extra flavor if you were born female. In our house, everything had a chain of command. Mom was the general. Dad was the enforcer. And my brothers? Kings of the couch. One older, one younger. They got cuddles when they broke remotes or carved stuff into the furniture. I got scolded if I didn't smile wide enough. When I was 12, I made the mistake of saying I wanted to take music classes. They laughed. Told me to focus on learning how to fry bacon properly. After that, I kept my wants to myself. By 16, I had a plan. There was only one way out, college. On a scholarship. I studied until I could barely see straight. Lived in the library. Didn't miss a single test. When that acceptance letter finally came, I cried. For the first time, not from pain, but from relief. They didn't give me a dime. Mom said, "You want to live on your own? Go ahead. We didn't ask you to." Dad added, "You chose this, you feed yourself." Cool. I would. Feed myself. And someday, someone better too. I lived in a dorm the size of a closet. Slept on a mattress so thin it might as well have been a napkin. Ate way too much ramen. Worked nights cleaning a clinic. That's where I met Sean. He was a tired night pharmacist in a wrinkled lab coat with kind eyes. The first person who looked at me and said, "You're okay." And didn't try to fix me. We've been together 15 years. Sean's a supply coordinator at the hospital now. Not exactly Wall Street, but it's steady. He's respected, insured, and good at what he does. He's kind. Too kind, according to my family. Not a real man, my brother Josh once said. Josh, who lives rent-free in our parents' house, drinks cheap beer on their dime, and screams at his kids when they breathe too loud. As far as I'm concerned, Sean's everything that's right in this world. Sean and I were never rich. But once I got the accounting job at the private clinic, things got easier. Eventually I got promoted, head accountant now. Decent salary. I didn't have to help my parents. But I did. Because that's what you do. Because they're old. Because I was still stupid enough to hope they'd be proud of me someday. The bathroom renovation? Me. Their insurance premiums? Me. The monthly boost to their retirement check? Also me. Last year, Josh got arrested after a bar fight, because someone looked at him wrong. Guess who paid the fine to keep his genius ass out of jail? Yeah. Me again. Because somewhere inside, that closet girl still lived, still hoping someone would say, hey, you did good. What I didn't expect was that one day, my own kid would be standing in that same filthy chicken shed, wearing torn gloves, holding a rusty bucket. Lucy barely saw them. Holidays, mostly. I wasn't exactly dying to visit, and Sean had zero nostalgia for the experience. First time he met them, my mom looked him up and down and said, "You're awfully quiet, young man. Or do you only raise your voice when you're putting your wife in her place?" Sean just smiled politely. Later, he asked me why we even bothered going. I didn't have an answer. Lucy used to ask, "Why don't we visit more?" I told her, "It just doesn't feel cozy there." She didn't get it. And I didn't explain. Because how do you tell your child your own parents think you were a mistake? That night, lying awake, I remembered being 12, scrubbing every floor in the house. Mom found one smudge under the cabinet and made me redo all of it. Then I ironed Dad's shirts. Standing. I wasn't allowed to sit. Later, they locked me in the closet because I said, "I'm tired." That phrase was basically a felony in our house. And now Lucy. My baby. The one I tried so hard to protect from everything, until the whole damn world collapsed on her head. All I could do now was pull her out. And make damn sure she never ends up there again. Not in that house. Not in anything like it. In the morning, she woke up and saw me. Smiled. Tired but real. She asked, "You're not going back to the hospital, right?" I said, "No, sweetie. We'll go together. To see Dad." She nodded. Then we had cinnamon apple oatmeal. And I decided, this would be our new beginning. No yelling. No slaps. No closets. As for the people who hurt her? Yeah, I was already working on that. But I didn't tell her yet. Because I'm not that girl from the closet anymore. And my daughter? She's not their toy. The next day, Lucy and I went to see Sean at the hospital. I hadn't really slept. Everything still hurt, and walking was hell. But I got up. Because I had to. No time for rest, too much to handle. I threw on some makeup, drank bad coffee, forced a half-decent smile. Lucy was trying to be brave too, but her eyes gave her away. She was scared. I took her hand. Sean was awake. Weak, pale, but conscious. He smiled when he saw us, a little cracked smile, but real. "Hey girls," he rasped. I walked over and gave him the lightest hug I could manage, like he was made of glass. Lucy hovered by the side of the bed, unsure if she was allowed to come closer. "It's okay, sweetheart," I said. "Go ahead." She stepped forward and hugged him tight. Really tight. He closed his eyes. I saw his chin tremble. Then Lucy whispered, "I missed you. So much." Sean nodded. "I missed you too," he said softly. "You okay, baby? Everything all right?" She looked at me. I gave a small nod. It's okay to tell him. "We're better now," she said. "We're home." Sean glanced at me again, and I saw it, the shadow crossing his face. He knew something was off. "Is everything all right?" he asked. I replied carefully. "Now it is. Don't worry. Lucy was with my parents for 3 days." His face darkened. "We'll talk about it later," I added quickly. "You need rest." He was already fading, tired, worn out. We said our goodbyes, and Lucy smiled, her first real smile in days. Not because she had to. Because her dad was here. That same day, I took her to the doctor. No delays, bruises fade fast, but paperwork doesn't write itself. The pediatrician, a man in his 40s with a fake smile bedside manner, started with the usual. "What brings you in today?" I didn't sugarcoat it. "She has visible injuries. She was forced to do physical labor. There was emotional abuse. Isolation. Food deprivation. No rest. His eyebrows jumped halfway to his hairline. But he nodded. Go ahead and take your shirt off, sweetheart, he said gently. Then he looked at me. Can you tell me exactly what happened? I didn't say a word. Neither did Lucy. He saw for himself. Scratches. Bruises. Blisters on her hands. He checked her reflexes, listened to her breathing, looked her in the eyes. Then he asked, where was she? With her grandparents, I said flatly. 3 days. Silence. Then, I'll write up a report. She needs therapy. If you're serious about this, you'll need evidence. Words might not be enough. I had plenty of words. But he was right. Words alone wouldn't cut it. Best case scenario, someone might frown and look into it. Worst case? They'd say the kid made it up. That night, after Lucy finally fell asleep, it hit me. The cameras. Oh my God, the damn cameras. 6 months ago, my parents called all panicked. Someone's stealing our chickens, help us set up a system. So I did. Called the installers, wired everything myself, linked the whole setup to my email, picked the password. Pretty sure no one bothered to change it. They didn't. Of course they didn't. I opened the app, heart pounding like I was back on an operating table. Went into the archive. Scanned for the right dates. And there she was. Lucy. In dirty rubber gloves, drowning in an apron that nearly hit her ankles, scrubbing the chicken coop floor like she owed the place rent. Hauling a heavy bucket, shoulder hunched from the weight. Josh yelling from a window. You deaf or something? I said get me some damn water. Another clip. She's standing at the stove, stirring something in a massive pot. Chaos around her. My nephews are running wild with their tablets. One of them literally spits on the floor. Josh is on the couch, shoveling chips into his face like a king. My mom walks by and mutters. Don't fall apart now. This ain't summer camp. Lucy doesn't answer. Then came the one I'll never forget. She's at the pantry door, facing my dad. He's wagging his finger at her like some boot camp drill sergeant. We got rules here. You wanna eat? Then you work. Got it? Lucy lowers her head. Silent. Hey, look at me when I'm talking to you. I said got it. She lifts her face, barely whispers. Yes. He storms off. My mom grabs the key, locks the pantry door, and says, like it's just another Tuesday. Quit whining. You brought this on yourself. Sit there. Think. Maybe you'll figure out how a proper girl is supposed to behave. Spoiled little thing, your parents ruined you. From inside, a soft sob. Then another. I muted the video. And lost it. I saved everything. Uploaded it to the cloud. Backed it up to a hard drive. Copied it to a flash drive. And made 3 more copies. Because trust? Gone. Next morning, I shut off the auto payments to my parents. Removed them from my bank transfers. Cancelled their insurance. Found the debit card they used for Josh's little bar brawl fines, you know, the ones I paid because someone looked at him wrong. Yeah. I froze that too. Then I texted Josh. You're cut off. You'll find out why soon. That afternoon, I drove to the police station. It smelled like burnt coffee and paper. The guy at the front desk looked about 19, acne on his chin, the dead-eyed stare of someone who'd rather be anywhere else. I'd like to file a report, I said. He perked up just a bit. What happened? My daughter was locked in a pantry. Forced to clean a chicken coop, haul buckets, mop floors. They humiliated her. It went on for 3 days. I want to press charges. He blinked. You have proof. I pulled the flash drive from my bag. I have it all. Videos, audio, timestamps, medical report, psychological assessment. I want this investigated. He took the drive, nodded, more seriously this time. All right. Let's get a statement. We'll also contact Child Protective Services. While he typed, I sat on one of those plastic chairs and stared at the wall. There was a poster hanging there. It said, if you see abuse, speak up. I'd been silent for 30 years. Not anymore. This wasn't about me anymore. This was about Lucy. And for her? I'm the one they should be afraid of now. The silence lasted exactly 24 hours. I actually checked my phone to see if it was broken. It wasn't. Just radio silence. I figured my parents and Josh were taking a moment to grasp the size of the explosion, or more likely, trying to spin it so they could play the victims again. That's their superpower. They're always misunderstood. And then it hit. A full-blown avalanche, voicemails, texts, missed calls. First came the accusations. Have you completely lost your mind? How could you do this to your own family? Your father is in shock. At what? No clue. Probably the audacity of me having a spine. Then came the guilt-tripping. We raised you. You know how hard things have been for us. We didn't mean to. Classic. I could hear their voices in my head, fake tremble, performative concern, precision-targeted manipulation. I didn't reply. Because there was nothing to say. Everything that needed to be said was already said, by a 12-year-old girl locked in a pantry. A couple of days later came phase 3, panic. I'm guessing someone tipped them off that this wasn't just me blowing off steam with the cops. This was real. Actual detectives. Real investigations. Multiple video files. Witnesses. Medical reports. They didn't see that coming. They thought I'd yell, cry, then show up again with groceries, a check, maybe a new water heater. Like I always did. But that version of me? She's gone. Josh called first. His name popped up on my screen, and I flipped the phone face down. He called 8 times. On the 9th, he left a voicemail. You want Mom to have a heart attack? What exactly are you trying to do? His voice sounded like even he was tired of his own crap. Then the real show started. Apparently, someone in our extended family, maybe a cousin, maybe a nosy neighbor, got hold of one of the recordings. Yeah. That one. The one where Grandpa's yelling at Lucy from the pantry door, and you can hear her crying in the background. Clear video, perfect sound. You hear me? Look at me when I'm talking to you. And then silence. Soft sobbing. Grandma off-screen saying, quit whining. You brought this on yourself. This is a lesson. It ended up in that family group chat. The one for Thanksgiving greetings and arguing over whose pumpkin pie is better. And oh boy, it blew up. Aunt Mary wrote, "Is this real?" My cousin Kelly dropped an angry emoji and said, "This is cruel, even for y'all." Someone left the chat. Someone forwarded the clip. Then my cousin Laura messaged me directly. "Steph, if you need anything, a lawyer, help, just someone to talk to, I'm here." And just like that, after 30 years of being the quiet one, I wasn't alone anymore. Wild, huh? The police moved fast. I guess the video helped. So did the medical reports. And the fact that Lucy isn't their kid. No guardianship. No legal custody. No rights. On the 3rd day, a team showed up at their house. I wasn't there, but I got the recap. My mom tried the crying routine. My dad tried righteous indignation. Josh apparently tried hiding. None of it worked. So, here's how it ended. Each of the 3 got fined. And not some symbolic slap on the wrist either, real money. For child labor, unlawful confinement, taking her personal stuff, and emotional abuse. Idaho classifies it as a civil offense, but don't let that fool you, it came with teeth. $2,500 each, plus court fees. Mandatory child welfare education. 1 full year under CPS supervision. Their house is officially on the radar now. No, they didn't go to jail. But the punishment? Oh, it was real. And more importantly, public. And in their little world of church picnics, charity auctions, and neighborhood gossip, losing your reputation is worse than prison. By the end of the week, Sean was finally discharged from the hospital. He's still weak, but his eyes were clear. He smiled the second he saw Lucy. And she just ran into his arms and said, "Daddy, you're home now too." I completely lost it. Like really lost it. Not out of anger, not out of fear. Just from pure, unfiltered relief. We're home now. The 3 of us. And we're okay. We're actually okay. So, what do you think? Did I do the right thing? Would you have done something different? Honestly, I still replay it in my head sometimes, not because I regret it, but because it still hurts. Let me know in the comments. I'd really love to hear your thoughts.